All right. Well, that's awesome. And tell me about your sort of interests, I guess, any challenges you faced as you've begun this journey as an inventor. How
Yeah.
did you first get started, and what were some of the barriers?
So I got started specifically December of 2020. At the time, I actually was already pursuing my own business. So freshman year of college, I was already known as like a beauty provider or makeup artist, and I was making a lot of money in my dorm room. But once COVID happened, I got sent home. I was a little bit panicked because I was like, if students aren't buying my product, who am I going to sell to? I had to move online, and I got very familiar with TikTok. They reached out to me. I joined a program to transition the app from a kids dancing app to more educational. That was when this idea and invention sparked up.
Okay.
I've always been someone that tries to find easy solutions to problems. Like I always tell my mom that Bill Gates says hire lazy people because they'll find easy ways to do things. And so someone who wears hoodies all the time, and I practice wearing hijab, I told myself, why aren't there hoodies that just come with built-in hijabs? And then I was already familiar with the process of reaching out to manufacturers or vendors and getting them to bring something to life. And so I went about it, got my first sample, ran to social media, and that's when the panic sort of set in because I was met with a lot of love and appreciation, but I was also met with like, you're not smart, people are going to steal this idea, like you shouldn't have posted this, and that's when I found you guys. I very clearly remember coming to Bold in like a panic state saying like, hey, what do? I need protection. I don't know what they're saying. And that's when I knew I had to, go about getting protection.
Right. Well, so you're actually ahead of the game. I mean, I know a lot of our clients and vendors, when they're first getting started, they have no idea about
Yeah.
manufacturing or building a product.
Mm-hmm.
You actually had a leg up because you said you've already done some of that with your entrepreneurial efforts with your beauty line. And had you done clothing before, or was that a new?
No, it was new. Everything was new. The pricing was new. Even like the sampling process, I wasn't for it. Every time they told me a number, I was like, this is not okay. Cosmetics was never this much. I'm not doing this. And I kept, people were turning me down, but then I was turning other people down because of their price ranges. My mom was just like, go for it. Like, so it was very new, but I still was used to the back and forth. I knew where to find people. So that sort of made it easy for me.
Got it. And I appreciate you sort of admitting that you were a bit like in panic.
Yeah.
Walk me through that one more time. So I know a lot of people have been in that boat. We've been able to help out. And so what sort of started that panic? What were they saying that got you?
So I made the post on January 30th of 2021, I believe. And the very first thing, I just started getting retweets out of nowhere. Like I woke up and it already was past, I think 100K likes and like tons of retweets. And there were so many comments. It was my first time just blowing up on Twitter. And a lot of people were like, oh, this is amazing, unheard of. Why didn't this exist before? Like what? Like why didn't I think of this? And then other people were like, you guys are so stupid. People like you things like this are gonna get stolen. Or they'd say, oh, Fashion Nova is writing things down right now. Or they'd say like, oh, Nike's gonna take this, or and so that's when I was happy, but I was terrified. So I was battling two types of emotions at one time. And I was like, what are these people talking about? I started looking up what patents even meant. And I will be honest, going in and working with you guys, I still had no idea what was happening. I just left it all to you because, you were trustworthy. But I had no idea what they were talking about, but I knew I was afraid of larger corporations copying the idea because it happens. We've all seen it before. And so yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, but I'm glad I went about getting protected.
Yes, I mean, we were still within that period, that 1 year grace period, to where you can still protect your invention.
Yeah.
Walk us through a little bit what it was like finally getting to breathe a little bit, speak with Huda about the process. How did that go?
Yeah, so we talked a lot about the product. Funny enough, she really understood it. She was really interested in it herself. And I remember the day that it was filed, that's when she sort of informed me I could be like, okay, like take a breather. Because I had no idea that filing dates were even important. I just like, okay, well, when am I gonna get the patent? Like what is this? She was like, oh, filing date. I applaud Huda because I always came to her with like tons of questions, tons of panic. And I was like, well, what about this? And what about this? And someone's trying to copy my idea and someone's trying to do this. And she calmed all my nerves very easily. Even when I went after the UK patents, I had no idea that you could do that. And I was very easily connected with someone overseas. I got protected there because, again, a lot of our international customers come from there. And so once it was approved, that's when it was like, oh, like I'm safe now. Like it was like a lot of stress and pressure just taken off my shoulders, I'll say, because all those comments were like, they were like gone to the dust now. Like they weren't important anymore. Like I knew I was protected. I could boast about it. I could put it on my website. It was a sense of comfort. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about that. So what is your website? Where are you currently selling your
Yeah.
product?
So my website is now veilstreet.com. We recently switched over from hijabi.
Hey, all right. Well, good. And how are things going there?
Yeah, pretty well. We're really, really doing well on social media. I'd say I have Gen Z marketing on lockdown. That's always been something that's come easy to me. I love TikTok. I mean, I'm in another program with them right now. And yeah, it's been really fun. I don't know if I can share this, but I may or may not be visiting a show where investors they pitch to investors. You know, I may or may not be in that process right now. Yeah.
Well, that sounds exciting. That sounds exciting to have those kind of prospects. Good.
Yeah.
So tell us about your branding, a little bit about that story, what you've settled on in terms of naming and how that's fit within the company and the business plan.
So the very, very recent change from hijabi shop to Veil Street was due to the previous owner. I mean, through Bold, I was connected to Matt to go about filing my trademark. It was a pretty long process because we weren't getting tons of responses. We even tried to coexist. We tried a lot, and we just kept getting met back with responses we didn't want. And so when the show reached out and I asked for advice from Matt, he very clearly said, like, you know, if I was this show, I would not let you on there with this issue. So if I were you, I would do a rebrand. And he was very right. I immediately did a rebrand and I was then able to move on with the process. And the rebrand actually is a lot greater than the past name. You know, it was descriptive, which is what I liked about it, because a hoodie and hijab, hood job, you wear it, you're a hijabi. I wear hijab, I'm a hijabi. Tongue twister, confusing, I know. But this new name is a lot more, it's to the point. It's very neutral. So Veil Street, because I'm combining the worlds of modesty and streetwear. And that's exactly what the brand is. You know, I focus a lot on being the representation that I wish I had growing up. I show Muslim women in a very fun and unique light. A lot of our TikToks, you'll see us doing fun skits or remaking scenes from the Kardashian show. Like, you know, we do a lot of fun stuff. So I try to keep it very entertaining and lively. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, just to make sure people got that. So you had to pivot from hijab, hood jobby to Veil Street.
Yes.
How long ago did that happen?
It all happened in April.
It was like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
They reached out to me in March. Well, me and Matt were already having conversations, and I was like, you know, just be honest. What happens after here? We already filed for the trademark. It's still pending. We also filed for cancellation and abandonment. I was on rocky waters and I didn't know what was going on. And I also didn't like the fact that the other owner still had some sort of hands in my business. If that makes sense. Like she still had some sort of right over me. And I think she even sent like an email saying that she wanted like $200,000. It was a lot of craziness. So I was like, I want to completely detach from that. And so he said, if I were you, I'd rebrand.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. And look at you. You're so optimistic. I mean, I know that would rattle a lot of entrepreneurs, but you're staying high spirits, and it sounds like it's
it
going
rattled
well.
me.
Yeah.
Matt definitely saw the panics too. So yeah. But.
So obviously that sounds like you weren't able to tell us the full details of this potential trade show, but tell us about what business plans you have. Where do you see yourself and Veil Street, let's say a year from now?
A year from now? It's a great question. I want to be constantly having drops. So we move on a drop-based schedule. So we like to lock the website and then get new inventory, do a lot of promotions, get a lot of hype, give people the exclusive access, like sign up, like we're going to be releasing on this day, be there, be square. And then like, boom, have a drop and then sell out. I want to get back to that regular basis. With this year being incredibly rocky and losing about 12,000 in inventory and pausing our drops, I want to get back to that basis. And I also would like to get into licensing 100%. I see some brands have interest. So Puma copy and pasted the design. They made like a gym version and they use the same name. They call it hood job. They call it a modest hood job. And we definitely know, like it's confirmed with Huda and the litigation attorney she connected me with, that it released like far after my release. Like they released it this year, September, and my patent was approved last year. So
Right.
I'm hoping that when I do go on the show, that I get the right investor to help me know how to navigate that. So yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So you have infringement. You have
Yeah.
patent infringement. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you walk us a little bit about that after having a conversation with the patent litigator? Is it what sort of,
Yeah.
plan have you put in place?
So pretty much in September, a brand, like a really good brand in the United Kingdom, reached out to me saying, "Hey, I just walked into JD Sports. That's like a UK's big Nike, and they're selling your product." And I was like, And she's like, "Yeah, it's under Puma." And so then I all of a sudden started getting like details. People were reaching out to me, and so I went to the website, and I noticed it was a very obvious copy. Then I ordered the product and was able to show the like exact like I was able to show it to the litigation attorneys. And I created a slideshow. I had all of my dates. I had all of Puma's dates because they needed evidence on when they released, and they did no social media promotion. So I had to go to find like articles. All the articles were released in September and October of 2022 saying like Puma went to Turkey and started this modest gym active, so it was very obvious, when it happened. And so with the team, they're saying that they were very honest about what the process is like, especially with a big brand like theirs. And they said like big brands like these, the moves they make are calculated. They know you exist. They also know that your patent exists. But if you were to go to court, they also know they could possibly outfund you. And so that's why they were, brave enough to do so. And so it was very hard to hear, but it was very honest. And they explained the process would be, first off, having to go like a couple of emails going back and forth, asking them to cease use. And if that doesn't work out, we move forward to other things. The highest amount would be like obviously going to court. And he
Right.
said if it was an easy case, it would be like, let's say $100,000. Hard case, 100,000, no, 200 to $500,000. These numbers obviously rattled me, scared me away. And I was like, well, looks like I'm just gonna have to, because obviously with a patent, you have to protect it. And so then we talked again, and they talked about possible litigation funding. Like if you can find litigation funders if they know you have a great case. So I provided them with all of these details. We're still in like a gray area. I'm assuming I'm saying that right. And so my goal now and my hope is, with this show, I don't want to place all my bets on them, but I know that it takes a lot to be able to go after a big brand like theirs, and they know what they're doing, and it's very obvious. So my hope is that once I do get an investor and mentor, I'm able to know how to move forward. Like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Because obviously, I'm hearing tons of things. I gave up a while ago. Then Huda was like, no, like you're a 22-year-old. You got this patent protected. Like this is your product. Like you should, And then I'm like, okay, well, this is all very new to me. Like last year, I didn't know what a patent was. Now you guys are talking about litigation. So yeah, I'm hoping that with an investor and mentor, they're able to help me navigate and know what to do. But funny enough, like one of them, or like multiples of them, like the investors, I've seen them all like in Puma, like wearing it or like following the brand or having collaborations with one of their brands. So I'm not sure what that's going to be like. So
Okay.
just navigating it, because Puma is a brand. They're well known. They have a lot of money.
Yes.
And I'm just Katie. So yeah.
Well, that is very cool. Well, Katie, thank you so much for sharing and being transparent, open, and honest with your story. It
Yeah.
sounds like you have got some successes, but there's sort of some challenges lay ahead, but major opportunities too at the same time. So I'm excited to hear what is next. We'll definitely have to stay tuned, check in at that 1 year mark, and see if things turn out well, as we all hope, for Vale Street. So anything else you want to share with us before we go?
I'd say I'm just thankful that I found Bold, because out of this entire journey, I'm clearly a solo entrepreneur, and there's a lot that I know, there's a lot to learn, and there's also a lot that I don't know. So I'm grateful that you guys were like a filler for, especially the legal side, like whether it's trademark, litigation, all this craziness and confusion. At least I had a team to rely on. Like I always wonder if like Huda or Matt are tired of my emails. I'm like, hey, what does this mean? I need help with this. Like, I just got this message. Like, I'm always just like running to them for answers. So I'm really thankful that I had that, and that I feel protected. And I know that even if I don't know what's going to happen in the future with Puma or with whatever, I know that if I were to go after them, at least I have the receipts, I have bold, I have something to back me up. I'm not just like floating in thin air with zero protection, So yeah.
Yes. Oh, and that's so great to hear. We definitely
Yeah.
have your back, and we're here to support you. We're not just going to get you the patent and then go away. We're
Mhm.
here all the way through. So any questions at all, get a hold of Huda or Matt or myself. So happy to have you as a client, Katie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Let me turn the recording off here, and then we can chat. I
Okay.
want to mention something here.
Okay.
Record.